State, IGR growth, new tax systems, digitalization, and blocking revenue leakages. To help us unpack these issues, we're joined this morning live in the studio by the Executive Chairman of the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, Dr. Jim Pam Wayas. On Good Morning Plateau, Dr. Jim Pam Wayas.
Good morning, Nanda. Good morning, Plateau. I'm glad to be here again after a while. Thank you for that long introduction of what the governor is doing in Plateau, particularly as regards to revenue generation. Thank you very much.
All right, so let's begin this way. The Mood for an administration, as it marks its third anniversary in office, how would you assess the overall state of revenue generation in Plateau State compared to what the administration met in 2023?
So thank you very much. So I think our best year for comparison will be 2022 because we came halfway into 2023. When we came as at 2022, the total collection then was 15.9 billion naira. So that's per annum. That's what they generated. And I'm sure you've known the statistics that when we came, the revenue have never reached 1 billion from January to around June when I take over as the chairman of the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service. But being that as it may, as at that year 2023, we're able to jack in the revenue to 25 billion. From there, in 2024, we hit that 1 billion for the first time. We hit 30 billion. Last year, 2025, we did over 42 billion, and we had been on the steady increase. And I'm sure when you listen to His Excellency when he talk about revenue generation as at on the 12th of June when we're celebrating Democracy Day, he said without no prejudice that the revenue service now is generating between 3.5 billion to 4 billion monthly. Yeah. So, but then we are still not yet there. He have even given a tall order that day. If you listen to him carefully, said that he wanted to hand over a revenue service that will generate up to 10 billion as at the time he will be exiting office. That's a tall order. That's even more than what we collect with some particular months and from FAC. But I also believe that the Plateau still have the potential to generate up to that amount. But the first thing is that there must be kind of growth, there must be kind of industrialization in the state for you to achieve those kind of figures. And he said that we can't continue taxing poverty. And the truth is, we are supposed to tax prosperity, meaning that we're not supposed to tax the seed, we're supposed to tax the income. So meaning if you have capital, we're not supposed to tax your capital because you're eroding on your capital. We're supposed to tax the profit you made from your business or the income you made from any kind of employment. Now, yes, while we are trying to reshape the revenue service, the National Assembly and the Nigerian government, particularly the Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms, came up with a tax reform that had also reduced our tax or payee income in the state. Now, let me break it down a little bit because if you remember, thresholds have been increased for brackets for those people that are supposed to be within the tax bracket. You know, initially, before the new tax law, the threshold is 300,000 zero rate. Now, from 300,000, they have been increased to 800,000 zero rate. Now, meaning that some quality of individuals will be exempted from the tax net. Then again, those brackets, like then it was 300, next 300 at 5%, next 1 million. So now the bracket have even been increased. After 300, the next bracket is 2.2. So I'm trying to bring a table of the payee system. So while we are trying to reform, we are trying to institutionalize the Internal Revenue Service, there's a new tax reform that came. So we have to also now shift our own kind of activity to mark the incoming tax reform. So that now this time around, we know that quite a number of civil servants, quite a number of people that are in formal employment, their tax burden reduces. Unfortunately, we don't have high-end income earners. If at all we do, then it means that those one will kind of reduce the bracket of the fall in terms of payee. So that's why we had to dig deep. And not only in terms of payee, even in terms of things like capital gain tax. The law now makes it clear that before now, capital gain tax at 10%. Whatever gain you make from any selling of, let's say, shares. For instance, if you have a shares, you sell it for 1 million, there's a gain of 500,000, 10% of it, which is 50,000, will be paid to the entire revenue service on individual. But on corporate, we're going to be a federal annual revenue service, now Nigerian Revenue Service. So these are some of the changes that happen. But I want to tell you that we have witnessed a lot of growth from year on year.
Mm.
I think year on year growth, we've recorded over 96% year on year growth over the past 3 years.
Mm.
Now we're entering the last lap. Over that, we've entered the last lap of the year.
Mm.
The tall order they gave us is that we must generate 65 billion. Just imagine the revenue service that was at 15 billion 3 years ago,
Mm.
or let's say about 16 billion 3 years ago. Now we are telling you to do 65 billion.
Mm.
Then this is a tall order.
Mm.
But as far as I'm concerned, we can do it with the people of Plateau, because the idea of taxation or the idea of revenue generation is that if every person dropped a tip in his pocket, or rather in the pocket of government, the revenue keeps growing. But if people are trying to run away from their first responsibility to the state, then it means that we're eroding the revenue base of the state. And again, I want to make it clear to Plateau people so that you know the function of the IGR. What we did as an IGR is an indices for our FAC income. So what it means that the higher your IGR, the higher amount you are going to collect from FAC, because it's an indices. So there are some indices like population, which we don't really have it here. We're at the middle of the table. There's also kind of landmass, which are also middle of the table. I think Plateau is around number 12 in terms of landmass. Then in terms of population, I think we're around number 15 or thereabout. So there are some of those issues. Then there are issues of derivation, where those money were being derived, or where these activities consumed. So there are a lot of indices. But however, even though the statistics do not show that we are going to have higher favorable income from FAC, so we need to internalize whatever we have. Then, so one of the things that I think this government is trying, Excellency said in the expo in Lagos, says that there's three most important key. The Plateau story rely on three key things. And let me say it again so that you won't be like, I'm talking too much. One of the key things that His Excellency talked about is one of the things that was completely exempted in the new tax law, that is not taxable, the agricultural sector. And that is the mainstay of Plateau economy. So it means that once you are into agriculture, those revenues, rather those income you generate from there, are exempted from taxes. So if they're exempted from taxes, but we are going to focus on maybe industrialization would now come in. So we're going to have value added. So while there's a process of value adding, then taxation might come in.
All right, so we've been able to establish that revenue has internally generated revenue from 15-16 billion to 42 billion at
45 billion.
45 billion.
Yeah.
Congratulations, that's almost times 3. We should not tax poverty, we should tax prosperity, according to His Excellency,
That's right,
the Governor of Plateau State. Congratulations once more. Revenue is the lifeblood of any government. What has guided the administration's intervention in the revenue sector in the past 3 years?
Well, the first thing is that its integrity have been put in place. And not only integrity, there's fairness, there's transparency in the system. Then people are not sure that if the money comes in, does not go into private pockets. And these are some of the things that His Excellency have put in place. But the most important thing is the industrialization of the place. Now, the industrialization happened from human transformation, from where they used to do table assessment to where they use data to assess individual. Then there's also transformation in terms of technology. Now, before now, I think for the past 2 years or thereabout, we've bought not less than 150 computers. And it means that before now it was paper-based, but now we're transiting to the digital space. Then don't forget, even the new tax law have allowed us to tax the digital economy. So how can you tax the digital economy when you are still using paper, pen and paper? Who will you see on pen and paper in the digital space? So these are some of the transformation that happened. Then again, transformation also happened that the institution, as at the time this administration take over, virtually all these fixed assets are obsolete, in the sense that even the vehicle to take you to spaces or to locations are not there. Not only vehicles, even the internet to back the processes are not there. So that's why. So some of the investment we invest in Starlink, which give us adequate network. Then we have a backup network which comes from Glow. So there's an fiber active cables that was laid from somewhere to back to our office, so that now the server room have to run 24 hours because you are running a digital space. And as it runs 24 hours, you have to host it somewhere. So digital space is hosted in AWS. We call it Amazon Web Services. Now we pay in dollars for us to just even be on the that platform. And the reason is that so that there will be real-time payment. And if you are not online 247, there's going to be serious issue. And just recently again, we discovered that there's a height in prices of diesel, petroleum because of what is happening between America and Iraq and Israel and the rest. So we realized that we can't continue funding the big gens with this. So with the data room that we have in the office, we have to automate it to solar. Unfortunately, we alternated to solar. Now there's little sun for us to hit and charge our this. But however, at least we had support the data room so that where there is no electricity, where there is no generator power, then there's a solar to back up. But I believe that the transformation have been in phases, and even the staff themselves, they have been transformed in terms of now they are coming from knowledge-based taxation from table-based taxation, meaning that we invest in training both locally and internationally. And for some of them, they said this is the first time they're experiencing that they don't know anybody, they don't need to lobby, and people and they'll be sent for trainings, they'll be sent for workshops, and so many other things. So I'll be glad to say that the Barrister Caleb Manasseh administration have done a lot in the revenue service, and it's still doing a lot actually because we are not yet there. Aside that, you must they said he who bakes the cake should not sleep hungry. So because we are the ones baking the cake, the welfare of the staff is adequately taken care of. And these are some of the things that even before they start shouting about the minimum wage, we have gone past there. And these are some of the things that I'm sure the staffs are glad about it. These are not things that you go to the street and drum and make a drum that these are. But by and large, I've seen also a sincere staff that are willing to contribute to the development of Plateau State via their revenue generation ability.
All right, blocking leakages
That's right.
has been a major focus of the administration. What key leakages existed before 2022, 2023, and how has the government successfully addressed them?
So, for the first leakages that the government had to block is cash transaction. Now, you see, when you go to an office and you transact with cash, you are creating avenue for what we call teaming and lending in accounting, where you pick for today's generation and cover with tomorrow, or you pick for yesterday and cover for today. So we call it teaming and lending. So one of the things we did is that there's no more cash. However, you want to come to office, you come with cash, we tell you, okay, these are the processes. There's a First Bank directly opposite us, or there's Union Bank at direct, or there's a Fidelity Bank, Jais Bank. Just go there and pay, but we can generate the invoice for you. So the staff does not deal with cash. And I'll make bold to say that any of our offices that you go, our staff collect cash from you, question that because they are rather either exploiting you. They might definitely do because they have to issue government treasury receipt, but they might either be exploiting you. But make sure that whatever they are giving on the receipt comes straight to whatever you're paying. Yes, I know that before now, again, there are some they call them agents in the office that you come just like somebody who operates POS and say that, okay, you pay to him, he pays to the government, but he'll charge you 100 naira, 200 naira. And I tell people that if you choose to go through the agent way, it's your problem because you can make the payment with your ATM card. You can make the payment even with your bank transfer. There and then you see you are transferring to government account. So how did you block the leakages? We told them that no more cash, no more paying into individual accounts, no more paying through an agent. You can interfere directly with the staff of the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service without necessarily going through somebody. And again, one of the things we have to block again is that we are making adequate arrangement so that you can even prepare your plate number from your house. You can renew your papers from your comfort of your house. Presently, for our plate numbers, rather from our driver's license, you can do it from anywhere for as long as you have internet. You go there, do everything, print, and you print. The only thing is that once the plastic comes, because it's centralized printing in Abuja, then we can call upon you to come and pick your driver's license. You don't even need to go. Except on rare cases, maybe you've done for 5 years, they expected that either you have added weight, or you have grown this, or you have grown slim, or you have aged. They tell you that you could come for recapturing. If that is the case, you can do it at home. You come with the paper you have, you come and capture in the office. So these are some of the things. But driver license is a joint arrangement between the Federal Road Safety and the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service and other internal revenue services across the state, across the country. So for that, we have also blocked leakages that you come and say that I paid you 20,000, you did not give me my driver's license. There's nothing like that. Or I've paid for my plate number, you did not give me. No, come to the office, make payments, and in fact, we produce plate number from our office in Jos.
All right, that's exciting. The mining sector has been identified as a significantly untapped revenue source. Plateau people are concerned Every day you hear tin and other precious stones leaving the state.
Yeah.
And the argument has been that it always leaves with nothing to return for the state. What progress has been made in bringing these activities into the net, and what challenges exist?
So for the first first side of the progress, let me talk about the progress.
All right.
Now, before now, they will mine this oil, rather they will mine these precious stones or whatever minerals we have in the state,
solid minerals.
solid minerals. They shipped it to maybe on airport in River State, and when they go to an airport, they register it as if those things are mined and wine in River State. Then they will sell it. When the Ministry of Mines and Steels will record it that this transit is from rivers, so that's what we call derivation or royalty in minerals. The Plateau State will not see it because it is assumed that those minerals were not from Just, because they were from at exit point at the water, port. At the port. So those things were not there. And if you remember, there was a time that there was a ban on mining activity in the state. That was a time that we scrutinized His Excellency, make sure that this thing have to go to government comfort. This have to be recorded that it's from Plateau. And for the first time, now we can see from, I think, about 500,000, now it has started growing. I don't know what the
500,000
per annum, per month. Yes, that this is already, yes, nothing comes in.
Legal.
Yes, because the derivation is not shown that it's from the state. So that's the first progress. Now we can literally start seeing mineral resources. And let me be bold to say that some offices in Jos, even the Nigerian Revenue Services in Jos, are becoming happier because even royalty made them to meet their targets now. Before now, sometimes they struggle to meet targets. So these are some of the good innovations that the state have done. Even the National Revenue Service are benefiting. And also the Plateau people are now going to start seeing a reasonable income coming to the state. Now let's come back to the other side, or the flip side. You know, for whatsoever it is, there's always a challenge in the mining sector. Why or how is it a challenge? First, you understand the mining sector is on the exclusive list. Now it means it's companies that come and mine. So those incomes are taxed under what we call the company income tax. But however, what about the laborers that worked that also generate income? These are the people that we call them on tap area. And if you realize that throughout this last week, we are starting today, 29th, we are starting enumerations of the mining sector. And this is a joint effort with Ministry of Environment, the corporation that manages the mineral resources, Plateau Mineral Resources Corporation. So with Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, we are coming to the state, we are going to all the shades, tin sheds, and start recording. Now the idea is that individuals go and buy tin sheds. If they are paying them, why wouldn't they deduct some personal income tax with them? So these are some of the things we are trying to make progress on. But as far as I'm concerned, the mining sector is supposed to give us a lift from the struggle that we're doing in the state, but we're still not there yet. We're still not there yet, excuse me. We're still not there yet, but we're catching up with them. Because one of the things we're doing now is that we're using technology. Because sometimes now they cannot be paying cash payment because sometimes it's heavy. So we're going to trace from the point of distribution to the different people. Then we'll tell you, we've realized that you have this income of 200 million in your account, 100 million in your account, 20 million in your account, but we have not seen your tax payment over this kind of money and things like that. So, but I believe that very soon we are going to get it right in the mineral sector, and they are going to be properly tapped. And again, let me be frank with you. Sometimes the owners, or rather the people that give the list, even make more money than the government. That's unfortunate incident. I remember there's an incident that I had somewhere around Barking Ladi, that the people that owns the land collect for everywhere you are going to dig a hole, they collect 25,000. So whether there is tin deposit on that or not, but for as long as you are going to dig a small hole there, they collect 25,000. Then you realize that if they see you generate more income, they come and tell you need to service something. But what did government do? Government cannot do. So government want to put its footprints everywhere around, so that we are going to tax the mining sector, not to scare them, but the idea is that we are going to bring them into the tax net so that they too should contribute to the development of the state.
Okay, but then if I got you right, we have this improvement from 2022 to date, which we've established, and I believe one of the things you have addressed is that the mining sector has contributed also significantly.
That's right, it does.
The progress that has already been made.
Not on internal generated revenue now, not now on FAC income. not on internal generated revenue.
Okay.
So, but us on the state or in the state, we're trying to look at how we are going to tap it into our internal generated revenue.
All right, that's exciting. In January 2025, the governor signed into law the harmonized taxes
That's right.
and levies approved for collection and coordinated matters law 2025.
That's right.
What does this new tax regime mean for taxpayers and for revenue generation in Plateau State?
All right, thank you very much. Now, so taxation naturally is on the exclusive list. States don't legislate laws on taxation. What state does is it domesticates whatever, yes, whatever comes from the center. So what His Excellency did is that, you know, where there's a shift, there's kind of a paradigm shift from the old tax system to a new fiscal tax system. So this new fiscal regime requires us to do some amendment to our local laws. So, and that's what His Excellency did in January. And the idea is that we also have to key into what is happening at the center. Then, so yeah, so one of the impacts of this law is that it's going to reduce the burden of taxations on the less income earners, that's small and medium enterprises.
And people will be excited to hear that.
Yeah, in fact, they are. They all know they are.
Because there was a lot of fear when the new tax law was signed at the federal level.
That's right.
Then you are clearing the air now.
Even you, I'm sure you must have noticed that salary increased a little bit because your tax burden have reduced.
Okay.
Because yes, even civil servants, not even those people in the market space. Then again, there's a new regime. They call it presumptive regime. And this time around, the regulation just came out. The gazetted regulation just came out last week. And what the gazetted regulation says is that for those people that don't have a steady flow of income, then there are brackets that we're supposed to put them. Some will be 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 per annum, 40, 50. Then they decide to spread it how they want to pay it. If they want to pay it in bulk, then they pay it in bulk. But the idea is that a lot of informal sector have been relieved from a lot of payment of different kind of taxes. And there's also a consolidation of so many taxes, even for the local government and the state government. Now, like for the local government, it's going to be grouped into just 4. So that you don't need to be paying different kind of small, noisy taxes. You just pay this one and you know you are done. Then for the state, there's also a collaboration on some of the revenue we are going to collect and that of the local government. A very good example where there is a clash between the state and the local government is the issue of tenement rate. Now the law makes it clear that this time around, let the revenue service collect and give the local government their part and the state government holds its own part. So there are a lot of those things. And remember, when the state internal revenue will come for property tax, the local government will come for tenement rate, the Ministry of Lands and Service will come for land use charge, or that they will come for ground rate and different kind of noisy tax in one place. So the new law or the new legislations have tried to break down into pieces so that this time around one person collects and shares to the other tiers or arms of government.
All right, we understand that the service has signed a memorandum of understanding with all the 17 local government areas of Plateau State.
That's right.
To synergize revenue collection. What informed this initiative and how is it expected to improve revenue generation across the state?
Now, first thing and foremost is that the new tax law have done a lot of readjustment.
All right.
Now, the law says that you cannot collect tax, you cannot collect revenue, you cannot collect levy from anybody if the person does not have a tax identification number. And the local governments in the state don't have the capacity to have, let's say, a data center, a tax identification number unique to the local government that they used to collect. Then again, we also discovered that we are changing ourselves as a state if all of us will not come together and generate this revenue. It does not matter who generates it. What matters a lot is that do I get what that have been generated in my local government to my coffers back? So there's this trust between us and the 17 local government chairmen saying that, okay, we are coming with our technology, we are coming with our technical know-how, we are coming with our skills, not to remove your revenue officers, but to co-opt them into our revenue service so that we work together. Now, one of the challenges we have is that we also have shortage of manpower in terms of the staff strength to mount all those ungoverned spaces in terms of taxation. So what we ought to have done is that we should have come in phases. Let's start from maybe the most metropolitan local government, like not just south, where we spread across. So we intended to start at once so that we drop the leakages that happen even at the local government. But unfortunately, that crowd movement did not help us. So we need to come back. We've now retrieved to the drawing board and say, okay, let's strategize. And the good thing is that most of the local government are now conscious that they need to generate internally. Because what is coming from the center cannot even sustain their developmental strive. I'll give you instance. There are moments that people will go and cut some bogus figures and say that this local government got 15 billion. Even the state does not go for 10 billion. How can a small local government like Mikan in Plateau State will get 15 billion in a month? Even as at now, we are moving to the peak period of revenue generation in the country. Even as at today, the state government cannot boast of 50 million per month. Then you can come and look at local government. I saw a lot of figures. I'm a member of JAC, so I know exactly what they are passing through. Then, unfortunately, the local government now have to look inward because there are a lot of untapped revenue that they need to check in.
All right, today's conversation forms part of continuing special series assessing the performance of the Mutfwang administration across critical sectors of governance as it marks its 3 years in office and enters the final year of its first tenure. Our focus today has been revenue generation and fiscal administration, a sector that remains central to the state's ability to fund development and deliver services and improve the lives of Plateau citizens. From what we've heard, government has pursued a wide range of interventions aimed at transforming revenue collection from digitalization and the introduction of intelligent billing systems to the harmonization of taxes and levies and aggressive blocking of leakages and expansion of the tax net. We also heard that while remarkable progress has been recorded with the IGR being on a sharp rise, important challenges remain. The task of ensuring that every eligible taxpayer is captured in the system, that leakages are completely eliminated, and that revenue translates visibly to development, and that the tax burden is fair. As Plateau State continues this developmental journey, the revenue sector will remain a critical measure of the state's capacity to fund its aspirations and deliver quality service to the people. Thank you, Executive Chairman of the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, Dr. Jimpam Wayas, for sharing these insights with us. Stay tuned, stay informed, and continue being part of conversations that shape our society. This is Good Morning Plateau, where every story matters and every voice counts. Join us after the break when our studio lines will be open. You can also connect with us on Facebook at Good Morning Plateau. That's at PRTVC Official. Well done, sir.
I can't cook it.
As usual.
Yeah, we are going to be a task advocate, seriously.
IGR growth, new tax systems, digitalization, and blocking revenue leakages. Studio number is 08125886048. You can also drop a message on PRTVC official. That's our Facebook page. Before the calls start coming, because the calls are not yet coming, Dr. Jim Wayas.
Yes, sir.
One question I did not ask is, what are your targets before the end of the first tenure of this administration in 2027?
For me, the self target is for us to hit 100 billion. For the first
Okay.
time, we hit triple digits. That is 100 billion mark. So that's the self target. But however, I know that the state target keep increasing. For this year, our target is 65 billion. And by now, 5 months down the road, we are somewhere around 20 billion. We are not there yet. But I believe that by the end of the year, we meet our target for the first time in the state and for the Internal Revenue Service.
All right, that's interesting. And of course, one of the questions that many people will be asking, and I know they will not forgive me if I don't say this, is what message do you have to the taxpayer, businesses, and citizens regarding the future of revenue generation and delivery in Plateau State?
Well, I think the message is always very simple for me. The message is that pay your taxes, pay your revenue to develop Plateau. And not only that you're paying, you're contributing significantly for the development of the state. Now, like I always say, if you move, the road has no potholes. If you move, the road has it's neat. You go to the hospital, the doctors are there, healthcare, medicine, everything is there. If you go, you see infrastructure. This is your taxpayers' money at work. And so for me, the message is really very simple. Let all come together as Plateau citizens. Come and register for your income taxes. Come and pay your income taxes so that we can develop Plateau together.
And then, of course, there's something you also need to, people see taxes and they also feel as if it's the revenue service that manages the taxes. Are you the one responsible for initiating development? Because this question will come later.
Certainly not. So we operate what we call the single treasury account, the TSA. Whatever is deleted move straight to the single treasury account. Even the service don't have access to it. So the people that have access to it are those in the Ministry of Finance, particularly the Commissioner of Finance through her warrant, the Accountant General. Then the approving authority is all His Excellency that approve spendings from the TSA. So what it means is that we only generate and submit to government, and government decides to fund the critical infrastructure that it want to see developed.
All right, let's start taking the calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Calling you from Ushi, aka Majority Leader.
Good morning, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate the effort of our peers this morning.
It's appreciating your efforts.
Thank you very much, sir.
I want to appeal to you to make more effort, because people used to complain that they are paying tax and government is not doing anything for them. But I used to encourage some people that government is doing road network and then water for us. They are using this revenue for it. But I heard you people talking about that that you make more money this year, right?
Yes, sir.
So do the network so that people should be encouraged for paying this tax to help this government. That's my point. I love this show. Keep it up.
Thank you so much, Crankers.
Thank you,
for
Crankers.
joining us. I believe I knew that these issues are going to come up. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. This is Pastor Rick. I'm calling you from Refuge here.
Good morning, Pastor Eric.
And State Nigeria. Yes. So, the explanation of what each local government does every month. Lots of people will like transparency, and it's a call be made very transparent because you open online, you have this completing income list that are accruing to the local government. Having said this, we have a challenge in Terminus. When I went to Terminus yesterday, actually, yes, roads have been done, quotas have been put here in Terminus. Who is in charge of this? Who is taking care of the cleaning of this environment? The old Mama Terminus area here. It's not, if you pass there, you will close your nose. What is the government doing concerning our utility is too much. And we need to do something silly. And that is the heart of the town, the heart of Plateau State. I don't know, sir, what the people in charge doing concerning that place. Having said this again, our water taps in many places and pipes have broken. The little water they give waste on the road. There is need for scrutiny on those who the governor has put in commissioning position to be able to carry some little assignment. Then the insecurity that is plaguing Plateau needs to be given attention seriously. Even as it's encroaching even into jobs. Look at places like Rankia, even refuge here, we are not comfortable. Offices and places are being boggled with people who carry cars and the enter places. Security needs to be beefed up in the town. Such methods should be introduced in some checkpoints. Thank you very much for the God bless you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Eric, for your concern over the environment, particularly at the city center in Jos, the Plateau State capital, even though that is beyond the scope of our conversation today. I'm sure somebody will take up the matter. Hello, good morning.
How are you?
Wonderfully well.
I'm based on Pastor Caleb Lamarle from Voice of the School, Radio Senator.
Good morning, Radio Senator.
Yes, the radio is the live wire of the activities of the development. I play my role, government play my role, you play your role. Then it will develop the society. So the private organizations will also be making their task so that we will help the government, help the society, and also to the private activities. So we need to play our role too, so that the movement of the department will move smoothly without difficulty. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Caleb Lamarle, the radio senator from Gindri. You know, positive ideas there on the need for us to be responsible citizens. Hello, good morning. Unfortunately, we lost that call. Studio number 08125886048. We've been discussing developments at the Plateau State Revenue Service 3 years down the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
My name is Angelo John. I'm calling from our family.
Good morning, Danjuma John.
I think the chairman of the revenue done with everything government is doing for you. You have to play your role like what Ramon has done. So revenue, you have to see that we really in what area we are farmers. One, two thousand five men, somebody one thousand five. You are very revenue. I see that you have looked at road and water. And they are living. So you are very revenue. Please wake up from your own what we are doing. Please now we are living. So please.
Thank you, Danjuma John. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us this morning with those positive words on the need for us as citizens to be responsive. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Michael Bank.
Good morning, Michael Bangtu. Nice to hear from you. Yeah, good morning, Michael Bangtu.
Yes, I think it is because of his proactiveness and the program he has made, the ERC itself has keyed into their program of paying everything to ERC in the Plateau State Revenue Board.
True.
That also helped us because we have also discovered that there were leakages. And I think with that, the leakages, I think they have been surmounted. And so we want to thank him for his proactiveness. And he should do well to reward those organizations who generate a lot of revenue to the board. I think it's very, very, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michael Banktu, giving us confirmation there from the ERC, saying that the new tax reforms have increased their capacity to generate revenue and to block leakages. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Who is on the line?
A very good morning to you, and both the Ghana and the Wayas.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
I'm Noah Thompson, calling from Bukuru.
Good morning, Noah from Bukuru.
All the observations the German has taken very well. And only, I don't know how to put it, one who is not living in Plateau State will not know all this detail. But from all what the German have explained, it is doing well. I can never exchange him for gold or silver as long as this work is confined. More grace it is doing well. Good luck.
Thank you so much. He's telling us that you've been handling your responsibility well, like a chartered accountant should at the helm of an institution that is so important to revenue generation in Plateau State. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, sir. So good morning, Alhaji from Manchok. Even though we don't speak Hausa on this program, but we interpret what you say. Let's have your take on the matter.
muna zuwa Plateau State muna biya revenue amma magana na gaskiya Plateau State tana sakaci da maganar karɓar revenue domin magana na gaskiya idan ka duba ka gani Plateau ko ta wuce inda kake tunani a arewacin Najeriya wajen ɓangaren kasuwanci yanzu ka duba kasuwar a jihar Plateau idan ka tafi jihar Nasarawa ba za ka ga ana wannan kasuwar ba amma menene hujjar da yake sa gwamnati da rasa sa ido akan yaya za a yi a gyara ma 'yan kasuwar nan wajen da za su zauna su da menene gwamnati ta amfana da su ba yanzu kamar mu da muke nan mun
To,
muna shiga Plateau sai dare da rana safe da yamma amma wani lokaci kalubalen da muke samu ina ne za mu samu mu ajiye abin da za mu yi kasuwa domin gwamnati ta amfana da mu dukan da muke kenan
all right, Alhaji from Manchok, thank you so much for joining us this morning. He's saying he's happy with what the Plateau State Plateau State Revenue Service is doing, and that they've been paying revenue in Plateau State since they were young, and that Plateau has a very large market, but that a lot is still leaking. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to Wayas, Executive Chairman, Plateau State Revenue Services.
Good morning, sir.
You are speaking to Honorable Stephen Key. They call me the ultimate from Banking Life.
The ultimate. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to all of you.
Morning.
I'm impressed with your discussion this morning, and you have been up and doing the entire disposition of your responsibility as Executive Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mine is to commit two more and continue to exploit more. Your projections are very objective, and by the grace of God, you are going to reach your target in Jesus' name.
Amen.
About revenue generation on the plateau, I know if you were not because of the insecurity you were facing, you would have gone far beyond what you are going. It's my prayer that people that don't want peace will come back to peace so that it can be well with us in the state.
Amen.
Now, my question is, what are you doing to continue encouraging your staff generate more for you. We have already talked about blockages. What are you going to do more again? Continue blocking other leakages because there are leakages of original entry. That is to say that I would like you to create an outfit which will be a public response and reporting unit of whistleblowers that can be able to give a report of any leakage anywhere that is happening so that together you will be able to block more leakages. Thank you and God bless you. Have a wonderful time. The governor has just done the right thing by placing a round peg in a round hole. God bless you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Stephen Kim, the ultimate from Birkenhead, full of commendation there, and still stressing the issue of protecting leakages. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir. Who is on the line?
Yes, this is Comrade Mr. calling from Plateau.
All right, Comrade Mashat, let's have your take.
Yes, I just want to comment Chairman on what he's doing. He's wonderfully doing well and work. He has left some points about what the revenue generation is all about for the development of our state. And then, well, I have seen so many things not going well in the aspect of health. Yes, sir. So I just want to ask you, what is the government doing about that? I am a kind of a person that I pass through health challenge. And I've been, once, okay, I was admitted in Plateau hospital and then two. And then I discovered that most of the big things that are done to ask us to go and do outside. In Plateau hospitals and even two, they don't hospitals that they don't have people that are capable of handling those cases. So I don't know, this is a best plan to say on the federal hospital based on hospitals. Well, this is a federal on hospitals here. Why is it that private hospitals have more equipment than the state and the federal on hospitals here on the platform? And then aside that, you see that whenever occasions are being done here on the platform, you see the government or the governors or people in high positions giving us cards, giving us cards, cards worth millions, billions. I think one card can supply all those equipment.
All right, Comrade Mashat.
Yes, so I just want the chairman to please highlight those points and give us the way out. The government say anything about that?
Thank you so much, Comrade Mashat from Bokos, for joining the conversation this morning. Executive Chairman, do you prefer to begin addressing the questions, or there are specific issues you want to speak about?
Yeah, so let me try and address some of the questions
All
raised.
right.
So the first person that called is Mr. Crankres, who talks about, all about the revenue generation. Let government the Plateau language. Let government do the needful. So, and let me be frank with you. And His Excellency talked about that on the 12th of June, just recently, when they marked Democracy Day, and he said that there's no local government in the state that construction is not happening in terms of capital project like construction of roads. He said, except Lantang South. And he said, we are going to get there. So construction are happening, even the interlands. But people don't know. I think we need to bring all of this to bear in our subsequent government participation so that people will know what government is doing. Just recently, I was coming back from the village. My village is just after Rat. We call it Medontro Nafok. I was coming, I realized that government had renovated all the dilapidated building of Waterboard. I was shocked. I had to call the Waterboard. Say, there's a lot of huge transformation happening here around. They call it the dam, Shen Dam, but it's Rat Dam anyway. The dam. I said, what's happening? He said that yes, they are coming and they are coming big. A lot of things are happening, and these are some of the things that are happening that people don't know. But maybe when the governors start commissioning some of these things, then it brings to bear that that our taxpayers' money, whatever we are collecting from the center, are put into judicious use. Then also, Pastor Eric talks about the local government funds, that there are a lot of these things are complete fallacy. And I'll repeat again, We all have the rights. You can go to the website of Ministry of Finance or the Canada office. You could see the distributions to local government. In fact, you could even see for the 36 states and the 774 local government. That is published online, so you don't follow what you see on social media, and that is the sad reality. He also talks about terminus area being very dirty, very unkept. I will call my friend, the DJ of Pepsa. I know they are doing a lot of work. Don't forget, even Pepsa is just close to terminus, so it's not going to be far. So we'll go there. And he talks about wastages of broken pipes. One of the problems that water board are facing is that there's issue of reticulation, and this issue is not known. They on one side they need to pump water, on the other side some of the pipes are rotten. So they are met in a crossfire that they have to pump water and there's maintenance. But I want to give kudos to the maintenance team because they have been moving around. Personally, sometimes if I see a broken pipe somewhere, I call him personally. So these are some of the things that I think we need to do. Ambassador Caleb from, I think, is it Caleb?
Caleb
Lamerli, yeah, aka the radio senator. He said the private sector should also contribute for the private sector are contributing, and they're contributing real big. It's under this watch that we even collected, I think, from banks alone, we collected over 450 million last year. So just to tell you that the private sector are contributing. Then Juma John talks about farmers and talk about stuffs around farming and encouraging us to contribute. Truly, the government are subsidizing. Governor have already made a commitment that there are over 500 trucks of fertilizer coming in and they are going to the farmers directly, not to individuals. So that I think will be sorted out in the coming days. Then again, Michael Bantu talks about what is happening in ERC. I think actually what happened is that before my innovation to the office, they had never paid money into the Internal Revenue Service. But this time around, we collect on their behalf and return their money 100%, because most times the money for basic, that's exams and other things for the secondary school. That had been done well. And he said we should reward them. We are going to reward you people by the grace of God. Thompson, thank you very much for the word of encouragement. Ambassador Bola from Manchok, we've heard what you said. And if not because our main market was burned, we could have gone far. Thank you, my elder brother and uncle, Stephen Kim. Ultimate, thank you for the encouragement. We're doing a lot for our staff, and there's a helpline that we usually have for whistleblowing. So you can call that helpline 0803 123 0301. 0803 123 0301. I think we need to close because I'm running out of time.
All right. Thank you so much, Executive Chairman, Plateau State Revenue Service, Dr. Jim Pam Wayas, for honoring our invitation this morning. I'll be excited one day to talk with you exclusively on mining and taxation in Plateau State, so that we can clear the air on many things. Our people are complaining. Foreigners are just making a lot of money in Plateau State with little for the state to show for it. We'll discuss on that some other time. On behalf of the executive producer of Good Morning Plateau, Rita Kachalom Pam, supervising producers, Udungyang Esther Nasara, producers, Inga Samuel and Titus Dates, studio manager and Dad Ayuba, and engineer Barakzi Dodo. From the ICT, we have Praise God, with Foot and Darat Bot. IT students, John Palo from the Plateau State University, Bokos. From the newsroom, Deborah John and Bilkisu Ilya. Covered Good Morning Plateau. We also have representatives of the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, including Wulashik Dafan and Kanjang Cholom, who are with us live in the studio. And on behalf of the duty continuity announcer, the relentless Vina Adams, my name is Nandom Oswald Kumwar. Join us tomorrow again on Good Morning Plateau, where we continue exploring the intricacies of the stories shaping our communities.